Hello, today I'm going to be reviewing this Canon EF 28 to 135 millimeter lens. I've had this for like 12 or 13 years now, so I'll go over the pros and cons of this as well as any secret tips that I've learned along the way. Now, as I mentioned, I've had this for over a decade. This was my first major lens, but I've gotten into photography since then, kind of went all out for a while. So I have several lenses, but this is a really good starter lens. As I mentioned, it's in the EF line, so it's kind of that middle tier, the lowest being the EFS. So if you're getting this as a gift for someone, the EFS line is for someone who is very beginner and probably doesn't know that they like photography. So like maybe an elementary school or middle school, possibly high school student. After they're into photography or even college age or older, if you get them an EFS line lens, it's not really like a serious lens, right? So you have to be careful that that's not taken as a joke gift. But this is good for, this is like, EFS is like EF is the highest like hobby grade line that Canon runs. So the higher line is the L line, and that's for like professional commercial photographers. So we're sticking here with this middle of the road, the top hobby line. And this is a wide angle lens, so you can see it's pretty thick, especially when I grab this other one here. You can see, right? Like this is not a wide angle, this is a wide angle. This is gonna get you a pretty straight shot of whatever you're taking a photo of, whereas this is gonna get you sort of a wider view. This is good for if you're gonna do landscapes specifically, because like let's say you're in a mountain, you want to be able to get far to the left, far to the right, and this will get you the whole scene. It's not as good for like portraiture, wildlife, action sports, things like that. Typically for those types of things you want something like this, which is, you know, your telephoto lens. But this is pretty good, right? Because it has that pretty big range, 28 to 135 millimeters focal length, this is going to be good for a broad range of things. It can technically do telephoto in that range, but this is very flexible. It's convenient for travel because of its focal range. So if you're going to travel around and you want to take photos of the sites, this will get the full scale of the environment. So this is a good option for that. Canon has really good quality lenses, and this is a good quality. I mentioned the L series. That's sort of made of metal, and so it's a lot heavier than this. Whereas this, you know, to someone who's not into photography, they might pick this up and be like, wow, this is a heavy lens. It's not the heaviest around. Those ones that are made of metal are going to be a lot heavier than this. This is made of plastic, so you have to be careful holding this. That's why I'm doing it over a bed, because if I accidentally drop this, it's going to land on something soft. You can see too just how delicate I've handled this over the years, just because it is made of plastic, so it can scratch, but I treat these with a lot of care. Especially once you take the lens off, once you take these lens covers off, you have to be really careful. So I'll show how this works. In fact, I have this just sitting here, so I don't have to have a cover on it. But I kind of showed this just barely. So you twist this off. That's the back cover. Then you can kind of slide it on there until it clicks. It's sort of difficult to do with one hand. There we go. So it made a little click noise. When I'm taking it off of this camera, you just press this button in, twist it off, and then pull. Once it's on the camera, you can see it is pretty big, right? This is a good sized lens. There are some smaller ones over here. In fact, let me put this cover on there. That's always a good habit. It's just keep the lens covered. You don't want dust getting on there. If you do get dust on there, You can always get, I don't know what they're called technically. It's like a turkey baster. You just kind of squeeze it and then it shoots air, gets the dust off. But if you have a microfiber, then you can clean that dust off too. So that's something that everyone should have in their arsenal. Once you're here, you're good to go. This has some other features of this lens is it does have image stabilization, so that's really good for helping to reduce blur in case the camera shakes. You know, there's always tripods for that too, right? If you're going to take a long exposure, tripod is very useful for that. It does have an ultrasonic motor, so that will allow for fast and quiet autofocus. So it's really good for photography and video work, because when you're taking a video, you don't want like a bunch of clicks. I'm not a video person, so I can't speak to how effective it is when taking video, but I could tell you during photography, it's very quiet. What else? So one thing I didn't mention too is the range here. Like I said, it's 28 to 135 millimeters focal length. Once you get past about 70-ish millimeters, I've noticed that there is a little bit of some distortion that happens. So you can kind of see like the curvature of the lens in the image. And so I'm not sure if that's a pro or a con, right? It depends on the photographer and if that's a stylistic choice that they like or don't like. But that's just something to keep in mind. It can go past 70 all the way to 135 millimeters. But once you get past that range, that's when you kind of got to question, you know, is this the right lens for that? But again, this is a really good starter lens because it has that wide focal length range and it's a wide angle. So this is going to be really good for a lot of people if you're doing like family reunion photos, things like that. I mentioned the travel, that's good for it too. The f-stop is kind of high on this, 3.5 to 5.6. So if you're doing a lot of night photography, if that's your primary thing, this isn't going to be the best thing for this. This does really well in normal lighting situations. It can handle low light, but I'm just saying if that's all you're going to do, you want something with a lower f-stop, like these two, for example. One of those has an f-stop of 1.8, and so that's really good for dark stuff, so nighttime shots. So think about that if that's what your focus is, right? This also doesn't have weather sealing, so you just gotta make sure that if you're taking photos in like wet weather, the rain, snow, things like that, try and keep this dry. Keep it covered under an umbrella if you can. That'll be really helpful. And then sort of the last tip I have is, depending on the lighting situation, if there's like, you know how in rush hour when you're driving at night, sometimes you get the reflection from the sun on the car in front of you and it can be blinding at times. Well, cameras get that same effect sometimes depending on the angle that the light is reflecting off of other surfaces, and so you can get what's called lens flare. If you find that you're in an area that has a lot of lens flare, consider getting a lens hood, and you just put it on top, and that will keep some of that extra light from coming in, right? It just kind of like wraps around like a cone of shame on a dog, if you can imagine. So yeah, overall, this is a really great lens. It was my first lens that I got. Like I said, about 10 to 12 years ago, 12 to 13. I got this one about 10 years ago. So I got this after a few years. So this is a really good starter lens. I have no regrets about getting this first. It's really served me well over the years. Anyways, I hope that was helpful, and thank you for watching.